The creator of the little book, Two Hearts, which I'm about to pull out of this sleeve.
Hey.
Thank you all for coming. This is a pre-intro because I'm going to invite my friend Judy Morrison up in just a moment to do a welcome to country. But I'd like to tell you about Judy before I do that. So Judy and I go back about 8 years now, and we have been in various writing groups together. But about Judy, she is a proud Gamilaroi woman, which for anybody who doesn't know, it's the very large Aboriginal nation that basically goes from New South Wales up to southern Queensland. Judy is a member of the Black Wallaby Writers, and Judy will say it in Aboriginal forming. Can you say it? The Black Wallaby?
Ngana Barangarai.
Thank you very much. She's the Deputy Chair of the South Coast Writers Centre, and she leads the Centre's emerging Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Writers Mentoring Program. Judy's short fiction, creative non-fiction and poetry have been published in various literary journals. She's the recipient of this year's Boundless Indigenous Writers Mentorship. As I said, we've been in groups together for the last 7-8 years, which has been an absolute privilege for me, and she's one of the very precious people. I might just not use this mic because we're quite small. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. She's one of the precious people, along with Ron and Laosh and Peter and Amelia and the late Jack Oates Baker, who's workshopped my Pling poems, many of which are in Two Hearts. Particularly when I was really fragile in 2019, my high school rep, with compassion and respect for me as a human and an experienced writer, and I really thank you for that, Judy. Judy has a really special friendship and connection with Pling. A couple of years ago, she told me she had a dream that she was asked to read a piece that Pling had written. And she said, "It's so Pling, but I can't find my glasses." So I really hope that if Judy needs her glasses, she's got them today. Please make Judy exceptionally welcome.
As Kathleen said, I'm a Gamilaroi woman, so it's not appropriate for me to do a welcome to country. But Kathleen asked me to do an acknowledgement of country, and I'm very honoured to do that for her. So we're meeting today on Wadi Wadi country, beautiful Wadi Wadi country. And the Wadi Wadi people have been here for at least 20,000 years, singing their songs, telling their stories, and they continue to do so. So it's appropriate that Kathleen's launching her songs. I pay my respect to the traditional custodians and elders, past, present and emerging, for their continued spiritual and cultural connection to and their custodianship of country, of this beautiful Wadi Wadi land. Sovereignty was never ceded. It always was, always will be Aboriginal land.
Yeah.
Maraba, thank you.
Also known as my son Outlaw, because Pling and I were married. He is in Belgium currently and living in Oxford, but is sending all his wishes for today. And Richard's going to video some of today, so Fabian will get to experience it, as will other family and friends who couldn't be here. And my two mentors, Ron Pretty, who sent his wishes, and Joanne Burns, both of whom have been mentoring me on and off for the last 30 years. And Joanne, who is the carer of her partner, took the time to send me a very lovely long email in response to my Clayton's invitation that said, "I know you can't come, but I wish you could," and thank you. So now I get to the dedication of the book, and those of you who have got a copy we'll see the dedication, but I'm going to read it out to you. So it is for Pling, Mike, who sadly became eternal on the 27th of November 2018, who he and I are twin stars forever, and I'm going to talk a bit about his memorabilia later. And Richard, who is my rainbow over there. So it's very elemental, and there's just one very personal thing I will share about that rainbow analogy, and that is fairly early on, my grief and bereavement counsellor, Danita, asked me to name the colour of my bereavement, and I said, it's the antithesis of colour. It's no colour, it's the absence of colour. And that's why I say Richard is my rainbow. Richard is part of the colour and joy, and as Pling would say, colour and movement coming back into my life. So thank you, Richard, and thank you, Pling. Now, he and I have been friends since 1987, mighty long time. My first memory of Michael is walking across the school cafeteria at Hawker College. Leah may remember the Michael from back then, wearing a very tight Ramones t-shirt with long hair, cutting a very striking figure. We should still have that t-shirt. And at that time I thought, this is someone who has presence. I was drawn to Michael as a friend and an artistic collaborator, and over 30 years later, here we are. Michael played at my first ever book launch, Passion Fruit and Other Pieces, which is on the table there, at Fireworks Cafe. I'm sure she's nodding. She remembers some of you who were at that launch. Yeah, that's 1995. Yeah, so amazing. Very deep friendship and artistic collaboration with Pling, who's documented lots of Michael's work. And Michael and I have done some more recent collaborations. Illawarra Folk Festival 2018. I gave Michael a copy of the little chapbook over there, Azure. He quickly read a poem called Blue Hawaii too. I love it. Can I perform it? Sure. And the next day, Michael gives a little nod to his community orchestra. And do you want to describe how you did that?
It's all a blur now, Kathleen. I was in the moment. I just remember that was when I was doing Balkan Elvis at the Illawarra Folk Festival, right? And Elvis is one of those wonderful chaps that in some ways is great, and in some ways you wish you'd never hear him ever again. It's sort of like he's everywhere, but also awesome. So, but when I read Kathleen's poem, it was really beautiful because it captured some of the ghost of Elvis, and it seems he's still in such corporeal form in so many jumpsuits and so many people around the world that it was really nice to kind of have the spirit of this kind of lonely, melancholy, because I imagine he'd be quite a sad ghost. He died a sad guy, so there was something about this, this kind of the film set that was once the happy place with this kind of like little breeze of Elvis almost floating through the old hotel rooms.
Yeah, Pling and I went to Hawaii, and there was literally a ghost building of where Elvis had shot Blue Hawaii, and it was like an archaeological site because of the the typhoon.
Right, the typhoon.
Hurricane. So yeah, it was really, and that's where the ethereal Elvis character was born. So I'm about to hand over to Michael. The songs that Michael's playing today are a combination of originals and covers, which I've handpicked. The first one, I'll just give a bit of blurb on them later. The first one is an original called Time Passes, which really resonates for me with two hearts because it's about eternity. So it really touches me deeply in terms of that eternal, once mortal Pling, that longing and the falling in love with Richard. Gentle, reflective, exquisite. And then we're going to hear a cover, Under Pressure, by Bowie and Queen.
No pressure.
No pressure. And a really interesting bit of backstory about Under Pressure is when Pling and I were living in Melbourne, and he was undergoing a drug trial for his aggressive massive lymphoma. We were in the cafe in the apartment building that we lived in, and it was playing, and we both loved the song, and I said, I thought it was by Bowie, and Kling said I thought it was by Queen. And then some months later, when came back to Wollongong and when Kling became Eternal, I picked up Bowie compilation, and sure enough, it's by Bowie and Queen, and it's a collaboration.
Yeah, and in fact, all the members of the band get a writing credit on it, so I think it's a wacky song, but it's wonderful.
Yeah.
I remember buying it on a single from Home Crafts Music in Canberra, probably in 1983 or something.
So mine has got lots of history with the songs too, and it really was like a theme track in Melbourne, where we were up to Plan D in terms of lymphoma treatment and prognosis. And I'll just read you some of the lyrics. But what it really speaks to me about is the incredible energy of love. When you're under pressure, love is the most powerful thing. Why can't we give love, give love, give love, give love, give love, give love, give love? Because love's such an old-fashioned word, and love dares you to care for the people on the edge of the night, and love dares you to change our way of caring about ourselves. This is our last dance. This is our last dance. This is ourselves under pressure, under pressure, under pressure. And the third song Michael's going to play in this first bracket, he's doing 2 brackets, is by PJ Harvey, called Horses in My Dreams. Very powerful memory of seeing PJ Harvey with Kling at the big day out. Absolutely electrifying. One woman, massive stage, so powerful. And the lyrics are really simple, but they speak to me about letting go and moving through grief, or letting somebody, cross over into eternity. Horses in my dreams, like waves, like the sea, they pull out here, they are free.
It's quite a beautiful thing that Kathleen reminded me of too, which was that when she... What would you call the event that you had in February 2019? Was it that coming together for Pling?
Celebration of life.
Of life, yeah. And happened the same weekend that I couldn't be there because my daughter was being born at that moment. So, and this first song is kind of a beautiful connection between Pling and Sunny, because I wrote it at that time, right when she'd been born, and also we were celebrating Pling, so I think they're both in it. And that's why I couldn't help wearing this jacket that my daughter and I made. Well, we didn't make it, but we decorated together. She's excellent. She makes great suits already at 3.5. But yeah, a little bit of all of us, including very topically. What I generally do is start something and she makes it really dark with lots. And so yeah, time passes by. I've gone to all the trouble of getting this tagged and tested in Kanahooka today so I could bring this amplifier in here, so I'm playing it, damn it. Into the light of eternity, see another face of love. The world breaks open, everything's alive, now and forever. Time passes by, time stands still, time is everything and nothing at all. Time passes by, time stands still, time runs away. Look into the eyes that can barely see
So many visions are there. Sing the song of eternity. Born in each moment, you are here. Time passes by, time stands still. Time is everything and nothing at all. Time passes by, time stands still. Time runs away with us all. Clock falls into the sink but doesn't break. It counts out every moment and every mistake. The clock on the shelf, the clock on the wall, the watch on your wrist, the time on your phone. Time is here for us all. Your time is here for us all. A pressure pushing down on me, pressing down on you, no one can ask for. Under pressure that brings a building down, splits a family in two, puts people on the streets. Well, it's the terror of wondering what this world is about, watching a good friend scream, let me out. Pray tomorrow, take me higher. People on the streets, yeah. Kicking around and kick my head on the ground. These are the days it doesn't rain but it pours. Dee-da-dee, la-da-dee-da-dee, la-da-dee-da, la-da-dee-da-dee-da-dee. It's the terror of knowing what this world is about, watching a good friend scream, let me out. Pray tomorrow, take me high. People on the streets, yeah, people on the streets. Turn away from it all like a blind man. Sat on the fence, but it don't work. Just coming out with love that it's so slashed and torn. Why? Love, 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 love. Insanity, love, under pressure, we're breaking. Why can't we give ourselves one more chance? Why can't we give love one more chance? Why can't we give love, give love, give love, give love? 'Cause love's such an old-fashioned word, and love dares us to care for the people on the edge of the night. Love, it dares us to change our way of caring for ourselves. This is our last dance. This is our last dance. This is ourselves under pressure. Under pressure. Under pressure. Thanks, folks. I just thought, well, if I don't have the full band, I'm just going to ditch them entirely. It's such a nuts song, but it's really moving, and it's quite, as you can see, to sing, you kind of have to go there. You can't half sing that song. Thanks for going there with me. I certainly don't have the range of Freddie Mercury, but I've got the depth.
That was extraordinary.
Oh, it was really nice. Thanks for asking me to, because I kind of know I love that song, but I almost like had forgotten about it, you know. And also you don't want to get confused to the song that's sampled, that bass line by Vanilla Ice as well. But yeah, when I was singing it, I was finding it was just the tonic I needed. I had a good cry. Thanks for that. Now, if anyone ever bumps into PJ Harvey, you'll have to tell her that someone out in the world did a version of Horses in My Dreams on accordion. Because the original is kind of quite bass heavy and electric guitars, a bit of drums and piano.
The world premiere, Horses in My Dreams and accordion.
Yeah. Horses in my dreams, like waves, like the sea, they pull out of here, they pull, they are free. I rode a horse around the world, along the tracks, broke the record, got the gold. I set myself free. I'll get there in a sec. I pull myself clear, silent. I pull myself clear, silent. I pull myself clear, silent. Horses in my dreams, like waves, like the sea, like a train on the tracks. I set myself free again. I'm almost done. All these songs have got strange key changes in them that weren't made for accordion, but I'm sticking with them. I set myself free. I pull myself free. Silent. Thanks, folks. It's a bit hard to follow under pressure, I have to admit.
Feel under pressure.
Yeah, it's just different, you know. You need to kind of a stiff drink after seeing that song.
Extraordinary rendition of Under Pressure. Michael has got the blood of a gospel singer. And that accordion rendition of Horses in My Dreams, and time passes so exquisitely beautiful and melancholy and joyous all in one. So that leads me, Horses in My Dream, to talk about horses on the cover. This is a Pling photograph taken in 1995, which is the year before the Twin Star Union happened. And Fiona Pling's former wife and his son Fabian, they don't know where it was taken, so that's a bit mysterious. And as Richard said, it's got an ethereal quality to it, which seems really resonates with the themes of Two Hearts. So Pling did a series called Horses, some black and white and some colour, and one of the colours lives in the guest room at home. And one of the black and whites I took a little, like a sample of a small part of. And so that's what's made that's the cover. And I did that in collaboration with Fabian. And I also thank Peter Frankus over here, my writing buddy, who's also a photographer. And I said to Peter that I was considering this image, and it's very non-literal, which is very in terms of the theme Two Hearts. You know, I wasn't going to have two love hearts, that would be a little bit too cutesy, even though I love that emoji. But the way that Pling and I worked in our long and rich collaboration, we made two solid books together, as in poetry and photography, and one of them was with Andrea Gawthorne, and I'm going to get back to Andrea in a moment. And the other ones Pling did the covers for. But we always, when we did the photography and poetry, it was never about illustration, it was always about response. So picking up on the mood, the atmosphere, the emotional textures of a piece of writing, rather than, you know, drawing like a picture book response to it. So it was really, that was really helpful talking to Peter, who understood something being a little bit more of a nuanced response. And you can all have your own interpretations, but for me, this image really speaks about love and belonging. So we've got a group of horses, and then we've got one on their own, which also, you know, speaks of aloneness and grief to me. So there's so many textures in there with the cover. So yeah, collaboration between Pling and I, and Fabian and I, and informed by Peter. Ginninderra Press have done a wonderful job with that sort of sepia aspect. So that's a little bit about the cover, and I've talked a bit about the books that we made together. And one of the big apologies I wanted to give was from Andrea Gawthorne, who made the first book Pling and I ever did together, called Jumping Out of Cars. And she and her husband Bruce been at every single launch, bar the first book I ever did, Passion Fruit and Other Pieces. So we miss Andrea and Bruce being here, and she's usually doing the book sales, but they live in Ulladulla now, and Bruce not well and not able to get here, and lovely Shushi has stepped into the book selling role. So, and another aspect of the collaboration with Pling is we did companion exhibitions at each one of those books. So Jumping Out of Cars, Light Seekers, Azure, Letters, even when Pling was no longer living, Fabian and Richard and I curated an exhibition. So always had those multi-dimensions of text and images. And as I said, there's some Pling memorabilia here and some of our previous books memorabilia on the side of the building there, or just on that window. You can see a big promotional poster from Light Seekers, the second book Pling and I did together, which came out in 2015. It was launched in Canberra and at the old courthouse, and many of you were at that launch. And the one next to it is the cover of Azure, which is the first little pocket poet I did together, and it's a detail from a school in Morocco, which is where I was born, not at the school, but in Morocco, and where Pling and I went back to celebrate my 40th birthday. There's also a couple of books on the table with Pling photography in there, History of Canberra punk called Head Full of Flames, and one of the late and great David Branson. I might get Michael to say a couple of things about David, but Pling photographed every performance just about that David ever did as a thespian and as a musician. And they're not for sale, but they are for absolute perusal. Please pick them up and look. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the concept of Two Hearts. So it's exploring the notion of heart on a couple of levels. One is, what does it mean to be the custodian of one's twin star, one's soulmate, and the capacity of the heart to experience profound love and loss, to heal and to grow, to expand and rediscover love and joy again, while holding a very large place for eternal love. So don't worry, Two Hearts is not a New Age self-help book, and the poems have sweetness, but they're unlikely to cause tooth decay. Now I'm going to introduce Megan, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about Megan, and then she's going to do the official launch speech. So Megan is a proud Kalkadoon woman, which is a mob from Mount Isa. She's a journalist, an author and a musician. And she and I have been friends for 33 years. Leah and I have been friends for longer. Leah and I have been friends, and Michael. But Megan and I have been friends since I was 17. Megan was doing her little reunions happening here, and there'll be time for that. While I was doing my Bachelor of Creative Arts at the University of Wollongong, Megan was doing her Master of Creative Arts. There's quite a few products of University of Wollongong here. Michael, Megan, Leah, Sean, Shushi, all from different disciplines, creative, science, etc. But go University of Wollongong. So another really important part of the friendship with Megan and I is a four-way friendship. Megan is married to an extraordinary musician called Mark Mittag, who Megan and Mark, some of you may remember, played at Pling's Life Celebration at Mount Kira in 2019, and an extraordinary, beautiful, heartbreaking, heartwarming version of Here Comes the Sun. And Mark also played with a friend, Simone Penkethman, a version of U2's One, which is extraordinary. So why I mention the four-way friendship is the very deep bond between the four of us, but also the understanding of having a partner who's a life partner but a creative partner as well, the multi-dimensions to that. So about Megan as an individual, she has a passion for black comedy, as she believes this is the best way to talk about difficult topics and make them palatable and palpable. She is the author of a book I'm about to go and pick up, which is called The Very Last List of Vivian Walker. And this book is making Megan into a literary rock star. It is a very, very...
This isn't quite a lectern, but I just don't want you to have to lean all the way down every time you do
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's really, really helpful. So, the very last list of Vivian Walker is a black comedy about a woman who's dying, who still has a list of things to do, including cleaning the fridge, picking the songs for her funeral, and tidying her son's toy room. I am in the early stages of reading it. Megan understands it's taken me a while to get to reading it, and people who live with profound grief will understand that. But what I'm finding is that it's very authentic in the way it portrays the characters, the family, the situation that we live until we die. And the busyness of living and the business of dying collide in the very last list of Vivian Walker. Now that quote, "we live until we die," is not a quote, I believe, from this novel. It's a quote from the very wise Dr. Roger in palliative care at Wollongong Hospital, who worked with Gling and I. When I say that it's making Megan into a literary rock star, it was shortlisted for the 2020 Banjo Prize, and it's part of a 2-book deal with Hatchet. And any fiction writers here will know that's an exciting thing to have, a 2-book deal. So rock on, Megan. Megan, as I said, is a muso, and she's the songwriter and vocalist for a soundtrack of the very last list of Vivian Walker, which is going to be a one-woman show. I don't think Megan's actually performing it, but she is doing the songwriting for it. That would be a truly one-woman show, hey? All right. Megan's working on that second novel, and it's currently called The Tuck Shop Lady. She's doing her PhD through University of Queensland Uni of Technology. And the thesis is on what I mentioned, black comedy as a tool to talk about difficult topics. And the working title of her PhD is, the working title of her PhD is 10, is that right? Which is a nod to the fact that we lock children up who are only 10. As a journalist, Megan spent over a decade working with Aboriginal media, Vibe Australia, writing scripts, deadlies. She's a concept designer for Move It Mob Style. She's a cultural consultant on ABC Me Kids program Space Nova. And she lives up in Northern Rivers with her husband Mark and her son Jackson, who's also very keen on photography. And she's flown all the way to launch Two Hearts. Please make Megan exceptionally welcome back in the Illawarra. Megan Albany.
It's very nostalgic. It's like going back to, and I didn't realise Leah was here until Kathleen said that we all shared a house together with Brett Seaman, who we all knew and loved as well. So it's kind of a lot of history here. So it's an absolute honour and privilege to. I'm going to get all emotional, Kathleen. It's actually, I feel quite emotional about such long, beautiful friendships. Anyway, pull yourself together. So yes, it's an absolute honour. I don't have champagne to crack over Kathleen's head, but I'm here to launch the book, published by Gingandera Press and supported by South Coast Writers Centre. And I absolutely love the idea of pocket poets, because I think if we all carried a poem in our pocket at all times, we would live in a much more beautiful place in the world, especially if those poems were written by Kathleen. A little biased. I also just want to acknowledge the Wadi people on whose land we're standing, and any other First Nations people here today. And I also really want to acknowledge the two beautiful men that Kathleen has dedicated Two Hearts to. Firstly, Pling, who was a dear friend to many of us, and we loved his quiet presence and also his beautiful photography. So it's so gorgeous to see this and to look back through such an incredible body of work that they've done together. And secondly, I want to acknowledge Kathleen's beloved Richard, who's with us today, and thank him for being such a beautiful part of Kathleen's journey. There we go again. All right, and just bringing some love and joy back into this space. Now, for those of you who don't know Kathleen's journey, she spoke a little bit about it. She was born in Morocco. She's very exotic. She spent many years in Canberra, also very exotic, and now lives primarily in Wollongong and often in Melton in the company of the wonderful Richard. So I met Kathleen, I said almost 33 years ago because I'm a bit more slapdash and she's more precise, so it's 33 years ago. And ever since then, she has lived and breathed writing. Kathleen has the heart and soul of a poet. She lives life in the kind of way we would all like to live. She's indulgently present in every moment, taking in the sights and smells and tastes of every conversation, every nature walk, every minutiae of beauty in a crowded city street, and every seemingly missable and unimportant detail of life in all its beautiful complexities. When I first met Kathleen, like she said, I was completing my master's and she was newly enrolled in her Bachelor of Arts in Creative Writing with Ron Pretty, who I also studied under. Kathleen was 17, I think, at the time, and I was a much older and very much wiser, or so I thought at 21 years old. Being so grown up as we all are at 21, I thought of Kathleen as my little sister. Well, during the past 30 years or so, my little sister has proved far wiser than me, and while I spent most of the past 30 years flipping haphazardly from one job or career or one house, there was, I think at last count when I was about 50, I'd moved 40 times, and Pling photographed most of the houses that I lived in. So I've had to stop moving because I've lost my official photographer. While I was flitting around, she's just remained steadfast and dedicated to the loves of her life: writing, nature, fitness, social justice, friendships and family, and of course her twin star Pling and Richard, who feature so poignantly and beautifully in her latest and most moving collection of all her work. I love her work, but I particularly love this one. So I was brought to tears. As you can see, that's not that hard to do, apparently. When I first read Two Hearts, as I recognised the beautiful and painful journey that Kathleen and Pling not only undertook with such deep dignity and love, but most extraordinarily with joy. I can recall so many moments where ever in the moment Kathleen and Pling would find joy in simple pleasures while their world fell apart. So I want to read Kathleen's poem Precipice from Two Hearts, which really sums up that ability to be present so beautifully. Precipice. I dream of lymphoma land, yet the ocean is cobalt, your favourite colour, and almost calm. Early autumn shine, just a few clouds. You're below on the rock ledge, photographing sooty oyster catchers and terns. Later, the terns will be immortalised in one of your most loved seascapes and often mistaken for seagulls. Back in my dream, you look up at me, smiling, light catching your specs, camera around your neck, heavy, yet an appendage to you. Clambering up the rocks, your foot slips. Reaching for your hand and wrist, well muscled from camera work, we grip and hold on. Definitely do that one clap because it is beautiful. But of course, Two Hearts is not just a collection of poems about two hearts, but of three. And the next poem I would like to read, Kiama Rockpool, introduces us to the extraordinary capacity of the heart to expand and what it means to walk out of grief and rediscover love. Kiama Rockpool. Plunge in, flutter kick underwater, nearly to the other side. Wave, thumbs up. I call out, sublime, you're in. We're swimming side by side. Glide away, explore a nook. Beckon to you. Shallower, warmer. I can tread water while kissing you. Float. Remember swimming with Pling and Fabian. Tamara with sun hat on the rocks before the first Christmas in our coast home. Recall the blowhole nearby, performing for tourists. Pling's camera ready to capture my venture in this rock pool. Tears slide, salty tide in, tide out. Step out, find towel, find you, Richard. arms around you, kiss under a February blue sky. So Two Hearts is ultimately a book of hope and love. It is a collection that not only contains the hearts of Kathleen, Pling and Richard, but the heart of humanity. Hope that no matter what pain we are experiencing, we can still find moments of joy. Hope that love lives eternal, and hope that love always has room to expand. Thank you, Kathleen.
By Megan's extraordinarily insightful, compassionate, wonderful speech and reading. Such a pleasure to hear you read, Precipice and Kiama Rockpool. Thank you, thank you. I think I need to take stock. We probably all need to have a cup of tea or a glass of wine or a beer. The beers I want to let you know are from a couple of local microbreweries, beer being one of the great passions of Pling and I. I'm slowly introducing Richard too, so please help yourself to food and nibbles, etc. We'll have a shortish break, 10-15 minutes, and then we're going to come back for some readings by me and some more music by mine. I need to just check the familiarity in the room with Doctor Who. Can you raise your hands? Oh, sorry, I'll just give you a little criteria. Raise your hand. All right, so there's three options. Very familiar, somewhat familiar, and not familiar. Very familiar.
Very familiar up to the 80s.
Okay. Somewhat familiar. Not familiar. Okay. What can someone tell me about Doctor Who's hearts? Heart. A heart. Few people have shown me two hearts, okay? This is the important part reference in the poem. So Doctor Who has two hearts and one can be regenerated. So Doctor Who can choose to live forever.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is the title poem, which of course is called Two Hearts. My heart beats way too loud, breathing short and fast, waking at midnight from deepest sleep. My heart beats discordantly. I remember Dr. Liz saying a little arrhythmia occasionally is normal, fine. My heart beats remembering Plan E. You're saying it's time to ring Doctor Who. Gentle Zen smile, time travelled too fast. Even for Doctor Who, no generator reached you. 28th of November 2018, I wake, custodian of your quiet heart. My rock star poem, because I won an award for it. And it's called Membranes, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about Membranes. It was a joint prize between South Coast Writers Centre and Wollongong Gallery. There were two streams of awards, and one was a general theme in relation to bodies, and the exhibition is called Everybody. But the stream of prize that I won this poem for, it was a direct response to an artwork in that exhibition called Everybody. And the artwork I responded to is a painting called That Split Second by Gary Sheed. And for me, it's an image of metamorphosis. And it became the story of Pling travelling from mortal to eternity, and me finding myself in a mortal land where he no longer was, and learning how to reach him across dimensions. Membranes. And thank you to South Coast Writers Centre for that award. 2 thumbs up from Adara. It's also in a great collection that I recommend called Legacies, with other poems and stories which are on those themes. Membranes, rebirth, you to a land beyond living, me to a land beyond side by side, slowly, 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 surfacing, breathing, finding ground, walking on sand, past peacocks floating, I didn't know they could swim. Pelicans flying, at least a dozen walking in water, azure, aquamarine, jade, shallows, then waves splashing salt on my cheeks. In my eyes, I think I see you, a light of pale gold. Swimming shafts of your light here deeper and cobalt, current stronger, yet swimming, sometimes paddling or floating. Water seems to stream from my eyes. It's hard to tell, immersed in ocean, treading water and breathing, swim back, sit on rocks, drying and warming. A zephyr tides in and out. Stars appear. I wait with the moon. I go home without your body. My third eye at the kitchen table, first full meal. I hear your voice, a faint hello, a breeze, closing the front door in the afternoon light. I sit in your studio and write. Light appears on the ceiling, fanning out like wings. Dancing in the red room, your light on the ceiling like white caps. Waves flow through me from head to fingertips to toes, dancing with you as we did, brushing against each other, holding close, then spinning off into music live, too many gigs to name over scores of years. I danced with you, you rocked in your chair, never an invalid. My skin remembers yours. Invite my friend and writing and creative buddy, Peter Francis, who's going to read a poem called Citrine with me as a duo. The poem has two voices, and one's mine and one is Pling's, and it's a pastiche of memory, of dream, of aspiration, as Ron Pretty put it, a romantic reconstruction of the last hours, days of Pling's life. So welcome Peter, and Peter, amongst other people here, has given invaluable feedback on this poem, Citrine. Do you need a mic?
I don't need a mic.
Does he need a mic for your sound?
I don't know, come out better, I think.
What's that?
It'll come out.
Well, I can pass it to you.
Why don't
We'll
you
share
do
the
that?
mic. We'll share the mic. And Citrine, I know people here like Leah are up with gemstones, but for those of you who aren't, it's a very golden gemstone, citrine. Dreaming. Me. Dreaming again of you unwell or paralysed. Smiling at me as I'm walking into your pale hospital room. We're going home. Sun is out after days and days of sheets of rain. It'll be shining even more when we get home. From the balcony into your space in the afternoon. The next day, again streaming into our room. I bring you breakfast in bed. You sit up the moment it arrives, sleep mask around your neck, souvenir of a flight back from Malta. Just over a year ago, the azure stays with us. Today the egg is also sunny side up and the tomato is ripe with summer. Dreaming this, I will keep dreaming it for you, for me, for us, twin stars.
You. I'm part sleeping, part waking, part dozing, still dreaming. You're walking into my room smiling at me. KB, I love you, I say, as you hug me. Today we're going home. Yay, what time? When Nurse Bob has done the obs and paperwork and Taryn has given the final OT okay. Sunbeaming, you're holding my hand, then packing up my stuff. 2 drawers. First drawer of IT bits and bobs. Second, squirrel fare. A ripe banana. A not yet ripe banana. And medjool dates, the reminders of Morocco. Returning to your birthplace for your 40th. Todra Gorge, our local guide Rashid's wide smile. Markets with pyramids of olives and spices. Tagines fragrant with cumin and cinnamon, earthy with carrots and marrow. Nutty pastries, dripping honey. Sweet, I say, I'm ready to go home.
Thank you so much, Peter, for reading that with me. It was a real honour having you read Pling's voice. Now, I mentioned a cattle dog rounding people up after the break, and this next poem is dedicated to a very little, now ethereal Kelpie, Foxy Cross, called Jeannie, and I'm so excited to have so many old friends in the room, not to mention Amelia, my mum, who know and remember Jeannie fondly. So this is for Jeannie, the miniature Kelpie, and it's also what's called an ekphrastic poem, which responds to another form of art, and this responded to a painting, also in Wollongong Gallery, and I'm going to tell you the name of the painting. Then I shall read you the poem. It's an Arthur Boyd called Artist and Dog on Beach. And it was in the Ways to Water exhibition at the gallery last year. Arthur, and that's Arthur Boyd, not Arthur my dad. Arthur, you paint on the Shoalhaven shore. Your brown, or is it red canine mate darts through reeds, full flight, blur of movement and light. My black and tan Jeannie, miniature Kelpie, ran for her red ball in our suburban Canberra backyard, leapt for the next throw, almost as high as the above-ground pool. Pointy ears, always alert, big brown eyes imploring all. Splash, we were in all summer, playing pool, pony, polo, except for when we got to go to the beach. Foresters up the coast was your favourite. Photo of you in my arms, a bit big but snug. I'm all tanned and legs a 12-year-old runner. When our family bushwalked in the Barossa, we came to a creek. You stopped, stood on a rock. Winter, I waited on the other side, not sure why I didn't carry you across. You waded in and paddled to me. Shaking yourself, my sister said she did it for you. Our uni days in the Gong in Sydney, we ran Thirroul Beach, frolicked around Osty rock pools. You ran beside me around and around in front as Kelpies do. Even when you were no longer a pup, you trotted next to me, snaking our way along the river. When you were 13, I tried to leave you behind and run. I'd hear the tink, tink of your collar and tag coming up behind me. 25 years on, I still hear the tinkling of your genie spirit. So along with those love and loss poems for Pling and love poems for Richard, there are some elegies for other departed beloveds, including Jeannie and a couple of relatives, and that was the one I chose to read from that little series of elegies. There's some other Kelpie lovers in the room. I can see one smiling over there, Sia, who had a proper real-size Kelpie called Logie. Now I move to the part of the afternoon where we can have some more audience participation. So we're going to have democracy in action. You're going to take a vote. I'm going to give you two-party system. I'm going to give you two choices, okay?
Yeah.
So there are two poems. One is called Mangoes and one is called Blood Plums. Both are obviously, well, fairly obviously about fruit. Both are sexy. Blood Plums references Jamboree, Mangoes references the Illawarra and India. For this vote, I would like a volunteer who's going to count those for Mangoes and those for Blood Plums. It's worth a blemished copy. So some of the books, the one that, the book that is closest to the sticky tape in the very ecologically responsible brown paper that Stephen and Brenda package their books up in, one gets affected by sticky tape, and this is one of them. So it's got an extra little bit of white light thing. So I'd like a volunteer who's not a relative of mine in the interests of democracy and not in an intimate relationship with me. Volunteer, Shushi's, what a champion. She's the bookseller and
Goes together.
and the voter counter. Yeah, she's good at numeracy and linguistics. So please raise your hands if you would like Blood Plums. You can't have both. You need to make one.
I don't see why we can't have.
Well, we might. But then we wouldn't be doing this exercise. Okay, those for Mangoes.
I don't even have to count.
All right, Mangoes it is. And there's more sex in Mangoes.
Recount.
And you know, there might be rock stars like Michael, they usually get encores, and maybe I'll get an encore and you'll get to your Blood Plums as well. All right. It's the last poem in the book, and it is dedicated to Richard. I am going to use the microphone, so I'm just having a little hay fever inelegant moment. It's hard to be elegant with hay fever. Mangoes. The first time with somebody who wasn't Pling, after he could no longer live in his body, was how I imagined the Ganges to be, with all its tributaries, maps of bodies, muscles, sinews, skin curving over breasts, hips, taut across my back and you nearly all over, the softer curve of your lower back. The Ganges with its flotsam of life and death, bodies of loved ones farewelled with wreaths of purple and gold, firelit rafts floating along currents to beyond. Unlike the Ganges, these kisses and caresses feel clean, washed by waves, pummeling rocks, the ocean's sapphire expanse. We'd lived in this city before, nestled between scarp and sea, dotted with industry, steelworks and rural patches, horses on farms by racetracks. It was late August, yet tasted of mangoes on our sun-kissed skin, ripe, dark, golden ones with dense, succulent flesh, bountiful around the stone. Imagine being fruit pickers in Darwin. Would we ever tire of sticky, sweet fragrances of mangoes? I say we deliberately, sensing then that mangoes are your favourite fruit too.
See through you. Your eyes are like windows. You can see through me just as well. I close my eyes and I'm with you, and I hold you in my arms again. I don't wanna dream of you, but I can't help it. What am I to do? I don't wanna dream of you, but I can't stop dreaming. I'm dreaming of you. When you feel love so close you could touch it, you'll know love. There's no need to rush it, let it flow like the tides. Let yourself go. There's no need to hide. If I could hold you, I'd hold you forever. But you're not here, so I play pretend. I close my eyes and I'm with you. I'll hold you in my arms again. I don't wanna dream of you, but I can't help it. What am I to do? I don't wanna dream of you, but I can't stop dreaming. I'm dreaming of you. When you feel love so close you could touch it, you'll know love. And there's no need to rush it, let it flow like the tides. Let yourself go. There's no need to hide anymore. No need to hide anymore. I don't wanna dream of you, but I can't help it. What am I to do? I don't wanna dream of you, but I can't stop dreaming. I'm dreaming of you. When you feel love so close you could touch it, you'll know love. There's no need to rush it, let it flow like the tides. Let yourself go. There's no need to hide. Well, while you're up, before you sit down, we may as well just keep it on moving. This is that song Solace that Kathleen mentioned. It's good. I often have a lot to say about the songs, but I feel you've done my job for me. It's excellent. I'll just play.
I'll be your PA.
Yeah, it's great. We'll tour together. You can do the blurbs, I'll sing the songs. Of all the things I could give to you, if you just let me, I'd give you solace every night and day. Things you could give to me, I don't need pity or charity, just give me solace, yeah. When everything is breaking down, give me solace. You're sick of your family, you're sick of your friends, you dive into the deep end. swimming for your life and trying not to drown. You're tired and you cannot pick yourself up. You want the whole wide world to stop. Even the socials won't cheer you up. Everyone seems to let you down. Everyone seems to hold you up. Who cares? Well, what's the rush anyway? Hey. If all the things I could give to you, if you just let me, I'd give you solace every night and day. Well, of all the things you could give to me, I don't need pity, don't need charity, just give me solace. Yeah, give me a solace.
We're going to dance to a bit of
When
song.
everything is burning up, give me solace. Forgotten the person that you wanna be. Can't see the world beyond your screen. It all seems like a bad, bad dream. You're tired and you cannot pick yourself up. You want the whole wide world to stop. Still drinking from that empty cup. Everyone seems to put you down. Everyone seems to hold you up. Who cares? It doesn't really matter anyway. Of all the things I could give to you, if you just let me, I'd give you solace, solace for you and me. Thank you, folks. It's an accordion waltz. It's a bizarre thing, but yeah, it can. I just tried it for fun just this week, because I was playing it, rehearsing it as it sort of sounds on the recording, and I just went, I'll give it a shot. And I tell you what, my little caravan will never be the same again. That's why I like to play music. So thank you for a beautiful day and for all your sharing, Kathleen. You're incredibly generous, big-hearted, big two-hearted Dr. Bleakley, who? And yeah, so nice. It's hard for me to extract myself from my family unit. I have a 10-month-old and a 3.5-year-old kid, and so I'm very embroiled in that world. And but now I'm here, I realise that it's so important to get perspective on that life and connect with everyone and hear these beautiful stories. So I feel like my cup has been very filled to go home. So thank you. So this is a song I've always loved, but never thought I would sing. So thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, thank you for taking it on, indulging me.
Yeah, so see if you remember your waltz steps from ballroom dancing at school.
This is just the preamble, but you can start swaying. Always flirt with death. I look ill, but I don't care about it. I can face your threats and still stand tall and straight and shout about it. I think I'm on another world with you. With you. I'm on another planet with you. With you. You get under my skin, I don't find it irritating. You always play to win, but I won't need rehabilitating. I think I'm on another world with you. With you, I'm on another planet with you. With you, another girl, another planet, another girl, another planet. Staying space travels in my blood. There's nothing I can do about it. Long journeys wear me out, but I know I can't live without it. I think I'm on another world with you. With you, I think I'm on another planet with you. Oh, I think I'm on another world with you. I'm on another planet with you. Another girl is holding you now. Another planet is holding you down. Another planet.
Thank you, folks. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Michael. As Moira just said, is that the punk song? That was absolutely extraordinary. And my head is spinning because Richard was just doing a little waltz with me. Richard does all sorts of dancing, including rock and roll and swing, but he's just shown he knows how to waltz. So thank you, Michael, for indulging me in those hand-picked songs and your exquisite originals. Thank every one of you. The room has been filled with lots of hearts and lots of love and lots of poetry and music, and really appreciate you all coming to celebrate. You're welcome to now stay on and drink and nibble and chat, etc. And if you'd like to buy more books, you're welcome to. 5 o'clock, we're going to wave you all farewell, unless you want to stay and help us clean up. But once again, and thank you so much to Megan for such a moving and insightful and generous launch speech. Really, really honoured that you came all the way from Northern Rivers to do that. And in terms of travelling friends, of course, you win the award.
You do.
And Michael and Sia are runners-up. Yeah.
What about the bronze?
They're the winners for driving.
But I guess I'm more silver.
Yeah. All right. So, thank you.